Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Markets and Matchups, your weekly dose of finance and footy. I'm joined here today by James Whelan.
A great cameo out here to talk about markets and talk about a little bit of football as well. Really good to join you. Thank you, Scarlett, for having me.
It's a pleasure to have you here
Absolutely
today.
sensational, sparkling day out there today with a sparkling week of football and absolute nonsense ahead for us this one.
James, we'll jump into the market wrap-up and then we will discuss footy and the new State of Origin game happening tonight.
That's it. Well, a quick costume change and we're ready to talk about the markets. Yesterday, slightly more disappointing than the Bulldogs last week was the RBA. It was pretty much a completely 100% factored in rate cut, but 6 versus 3 on the RBA, and they decided to keep it on hold. It's going to be a bit of pressure on those consumer side of things, a little bit of pressure potentially in the housing side of things, but usually the Australian economy goes from bull to okay. It doesn't go to bust. So this isn't going to break the bank. It's not going to change anything. Also, consumers have been okay paying the number that they're paying for their mortgage for some time. So no major impacts. It did manage to rally CommBank CBA from having a few days of declines. It's actually managed to put it up. So that was off the back of that. Pay attention to that. What I'm paying attention to right now is oil. Rig counts in the US are declining to a level which means that oil price pretty much has to rally, and it has been the basis for why oil has been rallying for the last couple of days, even with OPEC announcements over the weekend, which should have been a decliner for oil. We are looking at barrel. So if you want the stats, US oil production needs 440 active rigs for the oil price to stay flat, with each rig is about 10,300 barrels per day of annual production. $60 WTI price implies a rig count of 320. So rig numbers go down. That's going to bring the price of oil up. So have a look at some of those oil stocks that you've got in your portfolio, and if you want to buy some, potentially if they're down, now might be a time to add, hold, or buy when it comes to the oil price. With regards to Trump's amazing tariffs, which is fantastic, which came out overnight, some more ones that he's added. He added a 50% tariff onto imported copper into the US. I'm not entirely sure how you're supposed to make America great again if you're putting a 50% tariff on the thing that you need to build everything and the thing that you need for an energy transition, or the thing that you need pretty much just for the world to run that is already in shortage. It saw copper prices in the US, different markets, go up about 10%. In London, it's actually offish a little bit. So we're going to see this disparity in commodities prices going forward. It's definitely something that people are wait and see with regards to the tariffs on this one. The market has not overly reacted as much as they can. The US market from the beginning of the week was trading a little bit expensive for my likings, trading at about a 22 times forward PE. Now, not a deep valuation guy, but it does mean you probably don't want to charge in too deeply with a market that's that toppy from a valuation perspective, and maybe you just want to hold back, especially with a little bit of uncertainty with what's going on in the tariff market. Based on what I've just said there, in the US, with oil up, with copper definitely going up because things are more expensive, expect yields to go up. There's a $39 billion worth of US Treasury sale auction on tonight in the US. Keep an eye on that to see where the yields actually stop for that. I think the yields are probably going to go up, so rates will probably start to be estimated in the US to be on hold or to potentially to go up, but probably not up. On hold is probably the way to go. Unemployment and jobs have been quite strong in the US, so expect inflation to go up. Those things will mean that I think that the US dollar has to rally from where it is at this current time, which is unfortunately is not amazing for commodities, despite what's going on in the oil market. So we've seen, some of your copper and your commodity stocks might not rally as much as you want them to, but that's just based on a US dollar price imbalance, and that's just the way that things are. So expect inflation in the US. So higher for longer with regards to rates in the US, higher for longer, annoyingly here in Australia, with the RBA looking at what is going to be happening over the next quarter before making their decision. There will be cuts, just not this week. And so play that accordingly with regards to the commodity space and with regards to the banking space as well, and with regards to your investments overseas. So don't be too enthusiastic for the next couple of weeks. Just make sure that you reach out to your advisor for any better detail or advice than I've got. So thank you very much. Some absolutely cracking games that we just saw on the week past. Origin is on Wednesday night, and a few coming up. But what we're going to talk about what happened on the week past. Finished pretty much with one of the greatest games of football that I think I've ever seen. But we'll get to that in a second. Started with potentially one of the worst games of football that I've ever seen. I didn't even see it because I switched off at halftime because I thought that the Bulldogs of Canterbury had it in the bag.
Same with me.
How was that bag?
Yeah, not great. Friday night, Bulldogs, Broncos, it was very disappointing.
Just
very
terrible.
Disappointing.
As you may have picked up in my market report just now, I'm pretty unhappy with the RBA. I'm just as unhappy with the Bulldogs.
Yeah.
Absolute, just a complete debacle. I don't know how that club recovers. I don't know how that club recovers from this. That's it. It's another thing. Good. They'll slip out of the 4. I reckon
and Panthers will.
I reckon the Bulldogs are going to be 2 and out when it comes to finals time as well. You're making that prediction here. You know who's not going to be 2 and out when finals time comes?
Who?
My Raiders. I just made them my Raiders. They're my Raiders this week because they played so well.
I love the Raiders as well.
They got up with an amazing win, 28-24 over the Dragons. And Kyo Weeks, my player of the week. Obviously, everyone's player of the week too. Picked up the ball, absolutely ran with it. He scored. There was tackle breaks galore.
Yeah,
there was
how
all
many
sorts of stuff.
Tries?
52. So he got 34 run meters and 18 tackle breaks in the point. This is short points, but he actually ran. I think he ran for about 200 meters or something insane.
Wow.
The kid picks up the ball and the kid runs with it. Run it straight, as Chris would say, as the New Zealand way of doing things. Anyway, the Tigers absolutely mauled the Chooks, and it was fantastic to see out there against the odds. They were not that we're doing an odds thing, but they were paying about 4.10. Yeah, so we both tipped them, and so that's why you should listen to our tips for the weeks coming up. All right, what do we got? What else have we got on the books here?
Upcoming matches to watch.
Yep. Sharkies, Dolphins, Knights, Storm, Dragons and Roosters. Look, it's a weekend for upsets, so let's just go straight into it. Sharks, Dolphins. I don't have a whole lot of conviction on the Sharks. You like the Sharks?
I love the Sharks.
If you need the points, take the Dolphins. If you don't, take the Sharks, but don't be surprised if you're going to be wrong. Knights, Storm.
But Knights randomly do random things.
Storm still need to get the win to make to guarantee the minor premiership. Knights are the surprise packet, but I don't think they're going to be able to pull it off this weekend.
What about Eels, Panthers, Battle of the West?
Get to that at the end. It's coming in the time that it comes, lady. Seriously. Dragons, Roosters. The Dragons can beat the Roosters, and I think that they will, and that doesn't matter if you need the points or not, but I think that the Dragons will beat the Roosters, and that'll be it for the Roosters. Say goodnight, pack up your things, and out of the 8. Cowboys versus the Bulldogs. Cowboys will win.
I'm hoping for the Bulldogs.
Yeah, you can hope.
Hope
doesn't put food on the table, lady. Okay, you've got the Cowboys. The Cowboys get out to all of our Townsville listeners as well, and thank you for joining us. The Cowboys will get that done against the Bulldogs. I'm confident. I've got no conviction at all in that sloppy, shoddy Bulldogs outfit
Critter
held
won't
together.
Be playing, really?
No, they're back up and play, provided they're not injured. They play after Origin, and they're actually more seasoned in condition. The Wars versus the Tigers. I'm going to have to go against the Tigers.
Yeah, same. Up the Wars.
We
have to support Chris.
Warriors to get that done against the Tigers. I really think that they're the real deal this year, and we hope for the best. But again, hope doesn't put food on the table. Eels versus the Panthers, the Battle of the West.
Panthers, for sure.
And the Panthers to get that done against a very shaky Eels, even though they're going to have a lot of players coming back off Origin duties. They're seasoned, they're conditioned, they're good to go.
Both teams will.
And finishing with the Titans, with that beautiful club heritage that they have lasting all of 5, maybe 6 minutes, versus the Broncos.
Titans.
You like the Titans.
I like to go against the grain.
If you get to the end of the weekend and you're desperate for a point and you realise that you've slipped back and you need a miracle, because we're moving into miracle time, take the Titans. But if you just want to lock it down and consolidate, take the Broncos. Take it from me, because if it wasn't for that shoddy, sloppy, ramshackle outfit of the Bulldogs, I would have got a perfect round last week. Thanks, boys. Really, really happy with what you did last week. It's just incredible.
Well, we've got the Origin tonight, which I'm very excited for.
Yep.
The decider round. Yep. Every Origin should be a decider round. We both agree with that.
Origin, the world is healing, and when Origins are deciders, and that's it.
Yeah, it's just the best.
Yeah.
A good way to enjoy winter. And who's your standout players that you're excited to see in Origin?
Well, obviously, so New South Wales are going to be playing 1 to 17, apparently, unless anything changes between now and then. Brian To'o has got a knee injury, not a toe injury, which would have been hilarious. You've got Payne Haas has got a back injury, and you've got Nathan Cleary, who is held together with spit, grit, duct tape, and a lot of goodwill, and he's going to come through and win it for the Mighty Blues.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to see him do it. And then all of them back up and go and play on the weekend after. But that's what we've got coming up.
They'll win.
I think that they'll win. That would be Laurie Daly's first win as coach of the New South Wales Blues, and I think that going into this, he's probably going to be the most nervous one of all.
Potentially.
I know him, and you look at his and you look at him, and you can sort of start to see a little bit of doubt potentially in the eyes. Yeah, he drinks at my local.
Speaking of our tipping round, we will now jump in to see who's coming first. Surprise, surprise, B. Mullins coming first on our BBC Footy tipping comp. He's a great contender for the Las Vegas NRL Round 1.
I can't believe we're giving away. That can't be right.
Grand prize.
Are you sure it's not like
insane.
It's not a picture of Las Vegas?
No, it's the real deal. It's not Las Vegas from Timu. This is the real deal. Coming second, we have Swampy, and third, we have my favorite pasta, Ravioli. Congratulations, guys! Don't forget to lock in your tips for this next round of footy, and you could be in it to win it as well.
thank you for joining us today on Markets and Matchups. It has been a fantastic time coming in.
It's been a pleasure.
The goal, just like dropping plates, is to not get invited back to do the dishes. I hope that I've managed to perform adequately enough where I don't get invited back for another 2 months until next season at least. So it's fantastic. I've been James Whelan, Managing Director of Barclay, Pearce Capital's Wealth Management Team, and I've been joined by one of the greatest CSOs that I've ever had.
My name's Scarlet Alexander, but you guys knew that already.
Okay.
And I will see you next week. Thank you for joining us with another episode of Finance and Footy.
Stay safe and all the best.